Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is trade deadline day in Major League Baseball. The Guardians acquired a power-hitting outfielder yesterday. We're going to break it down in full after we break down something a little more important to get today's show underway, and that is G. Bush's musical career. Over the last few times G. Bush has entered the UCSS studio, he's walked in playing his own soundtracks. He has recorded an album, G.
Yeah, got an album coming out.
Is it officially out for the public? Is it just for internal use? Tell the people what's out there. And then Tyvis, on the back end of when G tells everyone what's going on, I want your honest reaction to G. Bush.
So what I've been doing is, you know what I'm saying, I sometimes I get in these creative modes, right? And so I get in these creative modes that I really be wanting to like really paint different strokes and pictures of what I want to do. I do clothing. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, I'm up all the time. I'm watching documentaries. You know what I'm saying? I like to draw. And, you know, I've been hit with the musical bug as of late. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my choir back in McKinley, Mr. Hoffmeister. I appreciate you. McKinley singers, stand up. And so, you know, I was like, yo, I'll be in the booth. I'll be looking around at these other dudes, and I'll be like, man, this dude really can't even sing like that. That person can't even sing like that. They go into the studio, they sound one way, they come out with a whole masterpiece. So I said, let me try my hand at it. So what I said, man, I hired one of my engineers, and I said, listen, one of my dudes, he works in the music industry. He used to work in the music industry before he did it. I said, listen, I feel like I got a strong enough vocal prowess that I could put some material out and people won't laugh at me. So we went in there. We went in there. You know what I'm saying? He get me together. He tried to get me in the right key. He doctor me up, and then I come out sounding beautiful. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? I got an album coming out. The mixtape is called Nocturnal. It's coming out. It's accompanied with a cologne too, and it's accompanied with a. By the way, I'm not lying.
No, I know you're not. I love that.
I just turned to Earl and went, I don't know if he's being serious.
No, of course he's being serious.
The Nocturnal is coming out, and it's some of your favorite covers. You know what I'm saying? It's something for the fall, something for the big fellas with the pea coats, and you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of love ballads on there. You know, I got Alicia Keys on there. Little Yolanda Adams is on there. So we're going to do that. We're going to release that, man. We're going to release it in conjunction with the cologne when the fall come out. But I've been just trying them out. I came in here the other day with the Alicia Keys. They said, yo, Earl came out the back. He said, yo, who is that? I came in the next day with the Drake coming. Hey, we going home.
What was the first way that you came?
It was Alicia Keys.
Yeah, it was.
And they was like, yo, listen, I'm telling you right now, man. So we just building that interest, man. We might, if y'all want that, put it in the chat. If y'all want, put the ones in there. If you want me to drop a snippet of this, I will drop a snip. I'll give you 30 to 45 seconds of the song, preview it, let me know, and then I if they be so gracious to let me do it, I'll put it on UCSS, and we'll see how it's gonna work. I'll give you that snippet if you want to hear that.
Could we get around the copyright issues, G? Of you?
Yeah, that's tough.
I would love to do a UCSS listen party for the debut.
Yes, like that'd be crazy.
When we get sued out the wazoo. Tyvis, just tell me you would want to listen an hour and 20 minutes to G. Bush.
You all go sit over there.
Listen,
gas this up.
Hey, listen, Steve. Director Steve.
Director Steve was
Director Steve, was you mad? You weren't mad at that? You felt like that I was doing all right for myself, right?
He said it was great if you can't hear him off mic. Yeah. Ty, why you a hater? Why you hating on him?
Hate? I'm not hating. Listen, this is the thing. Every group needs a guy that says, hey, dog, that ain't it. You know, and I have deemed myself as being that guy. This man came in here here today talking about some fall song. First of all, the song he sang today is a summer banger, first of all. Secondly, it's A. Marie. Why did we fall in love? Like, that is, she sang that song so beautifully that you can't touch it again.
What
and the
mean?
fact that you went in there and did a cover for it.
Yeah, I did a cover for that.
It's blasphemous.
It's ambitious. It's very ambitious, man. That's a high key right there that she's singing that in. And I had to do it for the big fellas, bro.
Won't you be a rapper?
Listen,
Big Pun,
I got
Notorious B.I.G.
I have bars.
Well, can we see that?
I'm working on it. I'm working on this cover from a Jamaican group called Western.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They in the UK.
Okay.
But you
a Central C?
No, you Jamaican. I was gonna bring that.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I got some.
Weekend.
I got one issue with G becoming a vocal singer, or not a vocal singer, but a musical artist.
He's an auto-tune guy. He's T-Pain.
Regardless,
I got some auto-tune.
G has missed multiple shows because his throat stops working and gets bloody, and he can't talk for 3 days.
That's crazy, right?
And it turns out, well, why can't G talk for 3 days? Well, he's been laying down 3 tracks in the studio, doing 17 takes on Alicia Keys, trying to hit the high notes, which you're right is ambitious, but it's taken away from UCSS.
These is old. These old, these old release tracks.
He trying to cover himself.
Like you got to understand something. Like, this has been in the process for years. I got different cover artwork. Like I told you last year, I was gonna come out with a cologne. The cologne been out.
That is true.
See what I'm saying?
It's called Nocturnal.
It's called Nocturnal. Cologne.
It's the Pando.
No, it's not a Pando. Shout out, it's in conjunction with a cologne company called 62 Degrees.
Okay.
So there's 2 of them. I got Nocturnal coming out first. Matter of fact, since y'all think I'm playing around, I'm in tomorrow. Y'all think I'll be playing, like, you know what I'm saying?
Gonna bring us a product and set it on the thing.
I'm bringing it tomorrow, and I'm putting it on the desk, and y'all can smell it. Y'all can tell me how y'all like it, man.
Deal.
I won't be here, so I just take McNugget's word for it.
I can't smell, so we're gonna
I keep forgetting you can't smell.
I have no sense of smell.
Like ever?
Ever.
In your life, like you've never been able to smell.
The olfactory nerve in your nose is supposed to touch. Mine's not connected.
Can they connect it?
If I want to get a nose job.
What's up?
Hey, G.
Yeah.
What's up?
I was wondering if you and the wife can start a line of lock caps.
So you like that go back?
Like something that I can use to shower and or sleep in.
That's crazy. That's a very good.
I mean, you got.
That's a very good idea, man. You know, a guy that's really rich because of that is Bow Wow. Bow Wow's do-rags. He came up with the do-rag that got the band in the front. The thicker band.
Oh, the thicker band.
The thick band.
You know what's funny is I just bought my do-rag in the car. It's the Bow Wow do-rag.
So Bow Wow he's the one who created that. If I could create that, like, listen, I would probably like have to like not be on UCSS every single day. That's a lot of money.
That'd be a lot of money. We can make a lot of money if we keep putting together banger shows like we got coming up today. We got Trey Wingo at 12:30.
Trey Wingo, wow.
Yeah, we got Trey Wingo, whose real name's Hal. I found out today, by the way.
Crazy.
Never knew that. Hal, H-A-L. Goes by Trey though. So
the
Trey
Google
Wingo's
that.
coming at 12:30. The Guardians made a trade. We got some Browns camps observations, including the first person on the Browns staff to plant their flag for either Team Dome or Team Renovation. We got an official word from someone very important in the organization. We're going to break all that down after a read from Ant. What's up, Ant?
What's up, guys? As much as I love mixtapes and spontaneous music, I love sports more. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports just aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball.
And if you want to bet on the newest Guardian, Lane Thomas, to get a hit in today's game, those odds are on FanDuel. Thomas is second in the lineup tonight playing right field for the Guardians as they have a 1:10 first pitch on a Tuesday afternoon against the Tigers, which frankly makes not a ton of sense. But Lane Thomas in the lineup. The Guardians acquired Thomas from the Nationals yesterday for 3 prospects. They traded Alex Clemmie, a left-handed pitcher they drafted in the 2nd round last year, Jose Tena, an infield prospect, and Rafael Ramirez Jr., another infield prospect, in order to get Lane Thomas, who is a power-hitting outfielder with speed, who's under contract for this year. Next year is the final year of his arbitration. There's the official trade details. Tyvis, G, we've been begging the Guardians to make some sort of move, and this was the first. We'll talk about potential other moves next, but let's start with Lane Thomas. Tyvis, grade the trade from the Guardians' perspective. Was this the right move for the right price in order to acquire Lane Thomas?
I give it a B+. I think it was something that when you, me, and Jason talked on Thursday, we all had agreed that maybe the bat was more important than the pitching. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy that hits home runs. He hits us in the outfield. Now, when we were talking, me and you said we wanted an outfielder. Jason said, I think he said shortstop. So we were in the ballpark. Obviously, the name isn't like a big-time name, but he is a productive guy, and he's a guy that we need that can come in and solve an issue that we have. I think it's very interesting that we'll get to see him today, putting him in right field, putting him at right field, and he's batting in the 2 hole. So that is going to be very electric to me. I think I love the move. I'm glad that they did something because the quietness was starting to bother me a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but this move right here tells me that they see the potential. They see that the hitting was an issue this month. Obviously, things have gotten a lot better over the last couple of games, but earlier in this month when things was down, they'd seen that they really needed that extra guy that could come in and be a spark and be a game changer. So hopefully Lane Thomas is that for the Guardians.
G. Bush, what say you about the Lane Thomas acquisition for the Guardians?
I was excited about it. Bull had the breaking news. I was looking around on the internet last night, poking around. Bull pops up while he's in Seattle. He breaks the news, says we got Lane Thomas, and I'm like this. I had to give him a slow clap. Thank you, Guardians. You people in the chat yesterday was sitting around talking about it like, come on, man, y'all guys act like, eviscerate them when they don't do something, right? Wait to see what they're going to do. And guess what? They did something. So I'm a big believer in keeping the same energy all the way around. If I'm killing you because I feel like you ain't doing nothing and I ain't heard nothing, I can't come on here and just simply grade the move and be like, I'll give it a B+ and want to be all reserved. No, I was killing y'all yesterday. I had a whole thesis statement on why y'all was playing around and whether you was wasting Jose Ramirez's life. Well, guess what? I love the fact that you heard what I said. That was wishful thinking. They probably didn't care about what I said.
No, they definitely watched.
And guess what? You finally went out and got me a bat. You got a stick. You got a dude that put up 28 home runs. He pounds lefties. He can move on the base paths. He's a corner outfielder. And how many times have we talked about the corner outfielders just like, hey, can you have a corner outfielder like Quan who puts the ball in play but not getting nothing in the right field? I like Will Brennan. I like Big Christmas. I like some of those guys. But this guy gives me a OPS over 700, close to 800, 28 home runs last year. He had his most power outage that he had last year, and they understood what it was. They said, "Listen, not only did you go get this guy, but he's in the fold for next year too." And you didn't give away no other prospects. No DeLauders, no Manzardos, no none of them. You gave away, how many middle infielders do you guys got? But you got Bazana.
Yeah.
You named 2 of these guys. I have no clue who they are. None. I was like, I don't know who they are. Good. I'm just get them, take that and run. And right now, we still got some of the big name prospects that you can turn around and get something with today and get greedy with.
See, that's how I look at this trade. If this is the only move the Guardians make,
You upset?
I'd be frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a first step to what hopefully turns into a great trade deadline 24-hour period for the Guardians, because Lane Thomas is certainly a flawed player. He's not perfect by any means.
No.
He's not in the Brent Rooker class. He's not in the top tier. If you were going after the big fish in the pond, there's a reason we hadn't mentioned him in all of our discussions yet in terms of potential fits for the Guardians. But he does provide them with power. Mm-hmm. He has 8 home runs this year. He had 28 home runs last year. He got off to a horrific start to the season. Don't go look at his April numbers, trust me. And don't look at his numbers through the first half of May. But since May 27th, so essentially June and July, the last 2 months, he is the second highest on-base percentage of any right fielder in baseball behind Juan Soto. He's second in Major League Baseball since May 27th in stolen bases, behind Ellie De La Cruz with 17. He gets on base, he can steal bases, and most importantly, in this Guardians lineup that is so heavy and so laden with left-handed hitters who struggle against lefties more than they do against righties. This guy, Lane Thomas, destroys left-handed pitching. That is his number one asset he's bringing to this team. These are his career stats. You can see the numbers. He has a 80-point higher batting average against lefties than righties. His OPS, 201 points better against lefties than righties. Look at the home runs and the RBIs as opposed to the at-bats. That's for his career. He does work against lefties. And when you can add a right-handed bat with speed, with power to the top of that Guardians lineup, even if he's not an everyday player, I'm sure he's going to get platooned. He's not great against righties. You could switch in John Kenzie Noel or Will Brennan if he gets backed up. Like, he can switch. He has some versatility in the outfield. But he's certainly an upgrade over what you had, and the price you paid matches the player you got in return. You didn't give up one of your big-time prospects to get a mid-tier player. You gave up mid-tier prospects to get a mid-tier player. And Alex Clemley, he was the top prospect in terms of their rankings they gave up. He was a second-round pick last year, drafted out of high school. They just drafted 11 pitchers 2 weeks ago in the draft to replenish the farm system. To get players, you have to give up players. And, of course, you may miss in a prospect you give up, may turn into something special. But Clemmy wouldn't sniff the majors for at least 3 seasons. He was still in single-A ball. That's a long way to wait when this team right now is in the playoff and World Series hunt. I like this as a first-step move for the Guardians.
Anything with a 2-bag or a shortstop on it, you're not playing for us. Sorry. You're not. You're done.
Because of Jimenez.
You're done. What are you doing down there? You might as well switch your position to third base or somewhere else or DH game.
I forgot one stat on Thomas I forgot to mention. Last season, this is the player you hope you're getting. He was one of 7 players in all of Major League Baseball. One of 7 with 35 doubles, 25 homers, and 20 RBIs. That's the kind of player Lane Thomas can be. And if you insert that player into this Guardians lineup, changes everything.
I tell you what, the one thing I like about it is that you seen the reaction. I think they asked Jose after the game, and I think Tanner Bybee was like talking about it before. This team wanted the upstairs to do something. I'm not gonna say they was frustrated with him, but we talked about it. When your organization makes a trade for a player, it tells you the players that's on the team currently that they believe in the season. And that might be a spark that you need. And hopefully that they see this and they like, all right, so upstairs is with us. They like, all right, we doing good this year. They can see us winning it, so they trying to help us out. And hopefully that chemistry, that positive energy just goes through the team and we just see them gel together. And hopefully Lane Thomas comes in here and just goes back to last year, just start knocking home runs out.
And you know the crazy part about it is when you look at when you switch from league to league, ain't no book of business out on a lot of cats.
Yeah.
Like he about to come over here and it's gonna take them 3 or 4 weeks to figure out, okay, what does this guy like to do? What does he not like to do? Where's his out pitches at? You know what I'm saying? Where is he struggling on the zones? So the fact that he's coming to the American League, I like the fact that they playing him right away. They want to get him acclimated, and while they don't understand what he don't like, he'll be up there getting nice pitches to hit. So I'm rocking with that.
And the protection he has in the lineup, if he's gonna hit second with Jose and Naylor and David Fry and whoever else is behind him, especially the top 2, Jose and Naylor, that is significantly better protection than he had in the lineup in Washington, where they have not been competitive for the last couple seasons since they won the World Series. He was hitting with no one's behind him, which is how Jose had felt a lot of his career in Cleveland. Now Jose's got Josh behind him. Lane Thomas is going to have Jose behind him. And if Stephen Kwan, who I know his batting average has dropped pretty significantly since Tyvus said he was going to hit 400, but if he's still getting on base at the rate he is, you now have a guy in that 2-hole with speed on top of it who has a chance to drive in a ton of runs. I think it's a really good first move, which brings us to our next topic. Ant, do you want to do a read before we get into that?
No, let's just roll right into this one.
Okay, so then for the sake of this, guys, the Guardians have acquired Lane Thomas. I'll get to the second part of the question after we all answer the first part of the question. And that first question is, with Lane Thomas in the fold, do the Guardians have a World Series roster right now? Yes or no?
Nah. We still need a little more, dog. We need some extra, bro. Listen, you started off. It's like, all right. My mom used to do this to me at Christmas time, right? We would get downstairs, and then she wouldn't put all the toys out in a succinct way. So what she would do is she would wait me out, bro, and I didn't like this, bro. And then I started understanding what she was doing. We would get random stuff like, I'm like, why is these batteries down here? You're like, why did you get these batteries? And then I'm like, okay, these batteries is for these little Minimoski handheld games. I don't want the handheld games. Where is the big Sega Genesis games? I don't see them. But then progressively, she put another cord down there. I'm like, what is this cord for? Should have took the game apart and put everything down there under a tree, and now it comes together as a transformer at the end. Like, okay, I got the controller, the cartridge, the plug. Oh, now you bring down the Sega Genesis. But them pieces and parts on their own don't mean nothing. If you give me a controller and a cord and AA batteries, I'm not accepted that. I don't like that. I can't play the game with that. You gave me a piece of part. I like the right-handed bat, especially what you can do against lefties, but that does nothing for this pitching rotation. If you're gonna have him with Carlos Carrasco, come on, dog. That is not it. Give me another one.
Tyvis turned the hat backwards. So, Tyvis, is this roster good enough right now with the addition of Lane Thomas and nothing else at the deadline, good enough to win a World Series?
See, this is the thing. It's hard to say that they can't win a World Series because they just went up against the Phillies.
And they sit in first place, too. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, where they at right now and who the teams that they beat. Like, I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he was like, if you take them and put them in the playoffs, it's not like they huge underdogs against any other team in this, like, or sometimes they might even be favored. You know, we're seeing where they're at. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, we talk about the pitching a lot. Like, we talk about how it's different in the playoffs, and y'all are 100% right. It is totally different in the playoffs. But if this guy, if they hitting and hitting home runs, it can overcome some of that pitching. Because the pitching sometimes is bad and sometimes it's good. It's just, the problem is I just don't know what you're going to get.
That's the problem.
And that's the problem. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, Tanner Bybee, Gavin, Ben Lively is probably, to me, is like the only guy that I'd be like, I kind of know what I'm going to get. Like, Tanner Bybee had, 3 strikeouts yesterday?
He had 2 strikeouts, but he pitched a good game.
That's what I'm saying. But, like, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to get. Cookie going to come in there. Some games, Cookie look great. Some games, Cookie looks terrible.
I don't trust him.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's like, I don't know. I would be comfortable if they did get a pitcher, which we all would. But I'm not gonna sit here and say they couldn't win a World Series without it.
It's like this, man. Are you more comfortable lost with no GPS and a cell phone with a full tank of gas or half? Give me that full tank, bro. At least I still might.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But let's say if they didn't make a move, would you still say they got no shot of winning the World Series?
Yeah.
You would say that?
I don't listen. They have found ways to win this year, and this weekend series is the perfect example. If they go into Philly with Lively, Carrasco, and Joey Cantillo making his first career start, and somehow take 2 or 3 from the Phils, I can't explain it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm done trying to explain it. But at some point,
you wouldn't do that in the playoffs.
No, you wouldn't do that, but that's not going to happen in the playoffs.
Well,
that's the point. Yeah, that's the point,
Ty. I'm saying you're not going to start your pitchers in the playoffs.
G and I may be wrong, and I hope to goodness we are wrong, G, that somehow if they don't make a move that come playoff time, you get the same kind of pitching from Lively, and you get better pitching from Carrasco, and maybe it's Joey Cantillo or whoever else is that 4th starter steps up, and the bullpen, which has been out of this freaking world this year. It is the single best unit, lineup, staff, or bullpen of any team in baseball. Of all 96 potential or 90 potential units, the Guardians bullpen is the #1 unit in baseball this year. That's how good it's been.
Are you willing?
But we've never seen Gaddis do it in the postseason. We've never seen Cade Smith do it in the postseason. We've only seen Clase do it in the postseason. Even Barlow is an unknown in the postseason. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with this Guardians team currently constructed, even with Lane Thomas, going up against some of the better teams in the playoffs, which is why, as I started my point with Lane Thomas, it is a great first step, but I still have my fingers crossed, and I'm still praying they find a way to find some rotational help.
I'm with y'all
later
on
today.
it. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I'm saying worst case scenario, if they decided to let this thing pass and they didn't make a move.
How pissed would you be if they lose in the first round of the playoffs?
Oh, it can happen. That can happen. That can happen.
It better not.
That's a possibility.
It is, but it better not happen.
But Dodgers lost in the first round
because if you lose in the first round, like then we're gonna go right back to today, how you should have made the move.
Which is the whole point of this conversation, Tyvis.
So if you're looking at again, I don't understand why you wouldn't, because it's not like you've given up anybody. Like,
what if they ask for somebody out of your bullpen?
Oh,
like
no.
a Gaddis or a Kate Smith? Yeah, they're not being touched.
No, why would I do?
I'm just saying.
In that case,
if
it's a frontline starter, if it's a top rotational guy, and if I want to trade from a position of strength, I think about it. But I need him to be under contract.
I'm saying, if it's Flaherty, would you give up one of your bullpen arms?
But Detroit wouldn't want a bullpen arm.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate. You said what's the best thing we got that's in MLB? It's our bullpen. So why wouldn't somebody want to attack that?
I'm willing to trade from a position of strength, depending on who they want. I don't know if I want to give up Gaddis, and you're not getting
Smith.
You're not getting Clase.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you got the ammunition, right? You got it, and plus they got guys that are playing now. They got Martinez, they Schneeman, they got Rocchio, they got Arias,
Freeman,
Big Christmas, Freeman. They got 6-7 guys. They got Will Brennan. They got 10 dudes. Listen, they got 10 guys that
they can come get, huh?
That play multiple positions. Like what you want. Hey, I'm open for work. What you need.
And in the outfield, DeLauder's their top prospect.
Right, DeLauder's still there.
George Valera is still in the top 10.
And we keep talking about this Valera guy.
He's struggled to stay healthy. You got Ralphie Velasquez and Kyle Manzardo, your top two other hitting prospects. They're both first basemen. Like, they have the tools. And the draft, which they had they signed all 21 players they drafted, by the way. And part of the reason they were able to do that was the haircut Bazana took at 1-1 and ended up working out perfectly for the Guardians. Right. They got the player they wanted, and by Bazana taking a little less money at 1-1, they were able to sign the high school pitchers they took in the 3rd and 5th rounds and the 10th round. Terrific haul for the Guardians. They replenished. I mean, it's not catapulting them from wherever they were at, I don't know, I think it was 11th to like 1st. But you have depth now to be able to move some pieces. And to G's point about all these middle infielders, the middle infield of your future is Jimenez and Bazana.
Yes.
Like that's locked in stone. You paid Jimenez and you just drafted Bazana 1-1. Unless one of these guys
is A-Rod.
comes out and is playing so well that they physically have to play, they're all, in my mind, they're all expendable because you already know the two that are going to be there. It's Jimenez, it's Bazana, and then everyone else is open for business.
I don't disagree with y'all.
I'm not saying you do.
But at the end of the day, I'm playing worst case scenario here. I'm preparing in my mind.
So let me ask you this:
I'm prepared for them not to make a move.
Well, let's ask that question and put this in the poll. If the Guardians don't make another move today, if Lane Thomas is the only acquisition they make, would you be ecstatic they got Thomas? Would you be, I'm okay with that as a one move? G, you're going next. Or would you be upset that they didn't do enough? Tyvis, you start. Because I want. Or no, you know what, G? G, you start. Because Tyvis got the giggles. You start.
Because it's Project Stockpile has been has swept the nation. People now are lieutenants in general under the captain, and we people understand one thing: these moves have to be layered. They have to. There's no one move here. Hey, Elijah Moore move.
Hey.
I'm just gonna give it to you. I'm gonna wrap this back in. I'm gonna fold it back in. We're not going Browns yet. I'm just giving you an example. Elijah Moore, a standalone move. You bring back Amari Cooper, but now you got Jerry Jeudy, and then now you drafted Thrash and Cedric Tillman. Now you got a mix of things that you could talk to, right? With this is a very nice step. This could put you from middle of the pack to now I'm talking about y'all being the number one team in Major League Baseball with home field advantage throughout. Now I can withstand Aaron Judge hitting a 3-run home run, and we can still come back. If our pitchers do give up a 3-run home run, I know that we got enough bats to get the runs back, and we got enough pitching to hold them at 3 runs. Like, to hold them and get some more innings out of you till we get to the bullpen. So you got to have both. They got the pieces. They're right there. I hope they're hammering these phones. I hope they're hammering the phones because they a couple of arms away from being like, okay, I catch y'all in postseason, and I'm excited for it. That's where they at.
So is that A, B, or C?
So you say you'd be upset if they don't make any more moves?
I pass out. I'm gonna be mad because why would you do this move then?
What do you mean?
Don't go all. Listen. I take it from a guy who's been engaged 3 times. It don't count till you get married. I was like, why did I get engaged if I wasn't gonna get married? Don't be at the doorstep, Tyvis. You there? You at the altar steps. Go ahead and up there and say I do. Be all in on it, bro. Go ahead, dog.
You got your nerve.
I know.
you was in there for this shit.
I know. Don't take my word for it, people.
Yeah,
do something better. Be better.
A, B, or C for you?
I'm at B. I mean, I like the Thomas move, and I understand why they did it. I understand that. Like G just said, if we go into a game in the playoffs, I know we got some sticks. Like, the problem is that for so many years they was depending on just singles, and we'll hit some singles and maybe a double every here and there, but we wasn't hitting it out the park. And obviously the home run numbers is up this year. Shout out my boy Jose for coming with 2 yesterday too.
Okay, he looked like he was warming back up.
So I was a little worried about my 15 for a second, but he didn't. Did his thing. But now that you got another guy, because for so long we was talking about it's just 2 guys. It's just Jose and Josh. Like, all we got is Jose and Josh, and Quan is doing his thing, but nobody think he gonna do that, in the postseason. But now you add another guy who is a 20 home run in a guy as well. Now you got 3 of them. Like, I feel like that's what you need in the playoffs. You got 3 guys that a home run could come and change the game from. Pitching wise, like I said, I get it. But if they didn't do it, I'm comfortable with what they have when they playing their best. If they at their best, I'm comfortable with the 3 with Bybee, Williams, and Ben Lively. So I'll be okay with it. It's not the end of the world to me. I think they can still win.
I would be upset, but I don't think it'd be pass out level upset, which I didn't give myself the option. There's no C+, B-. So on the ABC scale, I would be upset. But I wouldn't be like G. Bush passing out, flopping like a fish on the doorstep at 6:01 when the Guardians don't make another move. My big issue if the Guardians decide not to make a move, and I'm going to give patience and credit to Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff of the front office because they always seem, not always, more often than not, they seem to end up making the right decisions on when to buy and when to sell. However, as good as this team has been in developing arms over the last decade, they always seem to find guys, whether it's even a Ben Lively who comes here with the lowest of low expectations and turns into what could be their 3rd playoff starter, which is ridiculous to say out loud this late into the season. If they feel comfortable with that staff going into a 5 or a 7-game playoff series and knowing you're going to have to wring every ounce you can out of the bullpen because you're probably not getting through the lineup 2 full times with a Cookie Carrasco or a McKenzie or a Logan Allen if those 2 get called back up, or a Cantillo, or whoever that may be, I would just look at it as an opportunity cost missed because I still think there are pitchers available out there who won't cost the Scooble or the Flaherty amount of money or prospects or assets to acquire who can be a better and more reliable, consistent option than what they currently have. And when you look at what Eric Fetty got traded for yesterday, the Cardinals acquired him from Chicago. Similar prospect value rankings as what the Guardians gave up for Lane Thomas. Fetty's off the market, but there are other pitchers among the Fetty group that could be available and make a lot of sense for the Guardians without trading your Manzardos, your DeLauders, your Ralphie Velasquez's, your top prospects. I still think those guys are out there. I still think the Guardians front office is working the phones diligently up until 5:59 and 59 seconds this afternoon to acquire said pitcher G. So with all that in mind, I would be a little disappointed if this is their only move, but I wouldn't be passed out like Billy Bob the Bass, the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish Bass on the side, like you would be if they don't make a move.
I'm going to tell you right now, y'all got an opportunity, and not that this is a trophy, You got an opportunity to pass the Cavs in about 24 hours. You got an opportunity. See, the Cavs have captured people's hearts because it's the first time that they were competitive outside the LeBron game, right? Outside of that, you got Donovan Mitchell. They signed him. Cool. Y'all, the Guardians, y'all got an opportunity. Y'all want to, this is, by the way, I know y'all brothers and sisters in arms, and we like to support each other.
Nope. It's competition.
It's competition, bro.
To be number 2.
You are fighting for discretionary dollars. And I'm here to tell you, the dollars that people who already got Browns tickets ain't never giving them back. It is what it is. They can go 0 the last 10 years. They still going. Them tickets is passed down from generation to generation. But these other two, y'all the middle child and the youngest child competing for that attention. Now, I'm going to let you know something. I like what you did because I called you out. I said you had the 3 amigos. You didn't have the core 4, but you refused. I thought you the big 3.
The key 3.
The key 3. You know what I'm saying? I see what you was doing, but guess what you did? You gave up some of them prospects. You was willing to trade and wheel and deal. And by the way, free agency still going on. Cleveland Cavaliers. You can join you can just pick somebody too, right? Isn't it a novel thing?
They ain't making a move.
There's no moves.
You could drop that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the Cleveland Guardians.
I thought they was getting Finney Smith.
They ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. You're not doing nothing.
I mean, that'd be a sign and trade, not free. We'll talk Cavs in a little bit.
But shout out to the Guardians because now they got a way, all jokes aside, to break through with this, man. Do not let the Guardians get to a place. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. The Guardians win a World Series, I'm going to tell you what. There's going to be a lot of rekindling of that old Jacobs Field feeling.
I got it on
shout out. I see the Jacobs Field right there. That's I gotta talk to you because Tyvus, you waste so many fits. Tyvus,
I waste fits.
You waste fits. Like that's a fire hat. Why would you have that on? You're supposed to have the whole thing on. You're supposed to have you're supposed to have a Guardians Letterman. You're supposed to have the jeans. You're supposed to have you wasted that hat.
No, I didn't. I wear it every day. Again. Listen, this is my thing, bro. It's Guardians hat no matter what. Whatever the outfit is don't even matter because I'm wearing the Guardians hat with it.
Yeah.
When I die and they bury me,
be a Guardians hat?
Guardians hat is going to be on.
Buckeye jersey, Guardians hat?
Nah, I don't need the Buckeye jersey.
You know when McNuggets is hosting because he got the forces on. You know. Like, he don't got them on behind the scenes back there with Anthony and Earl. The forces is on. McNuggets is in a different stratosphere. That
is true, actually. That's very true.
Don't waste that. Don't waste it.
He usually got the Adidas pants with the Adidas shoes.
He's like,
the comfort of style. Hey, what does the poll results say, Ant, in terms of
Let me get you right here. 43% are saying that they need to do way more. 36% are in the middle, and then 21% would be happy with just Thomas.
Okay, so
it kind of mirrors
the up top.
We're at, where we're at here.
We want some other stuff. Go ahead and take that second spot. Tickets gonna be. That's a nice bump.
Now, if Jack Flaherty goes to the Yankees, I'm gonna be upset.
That's another thing.
I saw that floating yesterday.
That's another thing.
Bleacher Report tied the Guardians to Jack Flaherty.
I did. I see both, and I was excited for.
If he goes to the Yankees, I'm gonna be like, this is ridiculous.
So he was supposed to pitch against the Guardians last night, and they scratched him, and I was like, interesting.
Very interesting.
Like, Brian Windhorst team, interesting. And then obviously nothing happened. But I wonder, and I'm actually pretty confident the reason he was scratched was Detroit. No chance of him getting hurt.
Yeah.
We can't risk him getting hurt, so we're going to scratch him. Let someone else pitch. And the Guardians absolutely battered the guy who started in his place, which we'll talk about in a sec. But to put a wrap on the trade deadline and World Series roster, yes or no, Tyvus? Not should they, not could they, but will they? Will the Guardians make another move before today's 6 p.m. deadline?
Yes.
G, what say you?
Yep.
And I think so too. I think they do end up acquiring some sort of pitcher, whether it be a reliever or a starter, to help boost their arms, their bullpen, their rotation, however you want to finagle it into it. They will acquire another arm to help them in an October push. And let's do a game time review. Let's talk about the game yesterday afterwards.
Yeah, guys, just so you know, after the trade deadline, we come back home against the Orioles, and if you're looking to get a ticket, you can get a ticket to the game right now for $20 on Game Time. You can save up to 60% by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. The lowest price guaranteed. Game Time will credit you 110% the difference if you find a cheaper ticket, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. Well, all you have to do, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time. Choose Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
So no Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers, and it was an ugly result for Detroit as the Guardians teed off for 3 homers in the game, beating Detroit 8-4. Jose with 2 of those knocks himself. He had 3 RBIs. Bo Naylor also hit a 3-run home run to officially close the door on any type of comeback. Tanner Bybee on the mound for the Guardians. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 strikeouts, and 2 earned runs allowed. G. Bush, this team just keeps finding ways to win. It doesn't matter who's pitching, who's playing. They switched the lineup up and still scored 8 runs.
I like to see we trending upwards. You know, we talked about it yesterday, 12 out of the last 16 you done lost. The sticks looked like they was getting a little dry in there, but Jose Ramirez comes in. And like I told with Tyvus, Jose is now back, look like he's seeing the ball well. He's hitting the ball with power, driving the ball. And you're going to need those guys to consistently do that. Before, when we talked about the Guardians, it was more of a situation where it was like, hey, we was grateful to get that production from certain people. Like, we're grateful that, you know, that David Fry was hitting the ball like he was. We were grateful that we were getting some home runs from some of the guys like Noel and some of the guys like Schneemann. But here's the point. These guys got to understand that, like, it ain't about being a nice story. It's about flipping that into being a competitor. Like, when they go against the Yankees, and this is just the way it is, the Yankees expect to win. They're the Yankees. People don't clap it up because somebody else came in and started batting or hitting with power that they didn't expect. You put the pinstripes on, that's just what it is. I think the Guardians have to, over this last, I would say, second half of the season, this sprint to the finish line, they got to change their mindset from being a nice story into being like, no, we expect to do that. Hey, David Fry, you've been hitting like that all year. I need you to keep that up. Quan, you was flirting with 400. I need you to pick that back up because we need all of that. And the great thing is, you saw that now, and they play and I don't like how they was playing against Detroit either. Like, I don't like how Detroit was just hanging with us this year. I just didn't like it, bro. I'm like, Detroit is not that good. I like to get them 8 runs. I liked it. We got reinforcements coming. And this is how, like Tyvus said, now you stacking up that mojo. Now you like, okay, we hitting the ball, we got our guys back, and we making moves. Don't get it twisted. Like, and we making moves. Like, so that's where we want to be. And I'm a firm believer of, now we do have to have home field advantage. It's right there. We need to push for one more really big drive, and if you do get a big run and you run off about 8 or 9 out of 10, and you could put some space between y'all, now you can start thinking like, okay, playoff times, I'm ready to go. But I do think that with this young team and a bunch of young people they playing, I think it's advantageous that you don't want to have no game 7s. Nobody else is on the road.
I agree. I think that when I look at this team, I think that the first half of this season was all like what you said, like good story.
Yeah.
And I think it was like they went into this off season and they was like, we got to figure some things out, switch some our plate approaches, what we gonna do. And what happened is they seen a ton of success, and it was like, whoa, like wow, where this been at? And I think at the All-Star break they came out flat because it was like, they kind of regressed back to old habits, old ways, you know? Like, they wasn't really believing, like, this is really what we are. Up until recently, about that Philly series, it seemed like that when it was time to be like, all right, we got to have it, we playing with the big boys. They finally stood up and they was like, listen, we are that good. And I remember Austin Hedges doing a interview, and he said something like, we gotta learn how we're going to be everybody's going to give us their best shot. Since we're one of the top teams, we got to learn how to play when everybody's going to play their best ball against us. And to me, it seems like they're trying to really figure that out, and they're learning like, hey, you know what? We really are that good. Like we really that deal. Is they're believing that they really are that good. Now, when you get upstairs, making moves, it's like now they believe in us. So it's like now we got to put it all together. So when I watched them last night, it's a lot of guys that was riding away, like Bo Naylor. Bo Naylor was the guy who we was talking about. Can we trade him? Like, can we trade him?
This man is
what can we get for Bo?
Roller coaster.
And now, he comes out there and boom, 3-run home run. And it's been like he will go like maybe a week and a half and won't do nothing, but boom, he'll hit a home run. He just got to get more consistent. But it's still there. He's been so focused on defense that his offense had went down, but now it seems like he's starting to try to pick that up. John Kinsey, he comes out there and he hits the RBI, so I love that. And then Jose was like, listen, I'm going to go ahead and dagger this thing. I'm sick of all of this. Boom, knocks 2 of them out there. So they got all the pieces. And, yeah, the Tigers, I think when we played the Tigers, before the All-Star break, we lost that series.
It was
right?
after the All-Star break.
Was it after the All-Star break?
It was Padres,
then I don't even need to ask. I know we lost that series.
Yeah.
And it's like we need some get back. We need to show them who we are. We are a dominant team. And last night they went out there and they did that. They put up a bunch of runs. Bobby might not have had the strikeouts, but the defense was playing well. They was getting guys out. So I respect all of that, and I like what I see. And as long as the offense continue, if they could put up 8 a night, I mean, it's good night. It's over with.
With that bullpen, as long as
it's over. You put up 8, it's over.
You should win it. It's crazy how we talk about the Guardians and how we've talked with them in the first 45 minutes of the show. They have the second best record in baseball. They just beat Philadelphia in Philadelphia without either of their top 2 pitchers throwing against the Phillies. I keep saying it. I don't know how to say it any other way. They win games in unconventional ways. They find ways to win games. But I think despite all the nitpicking we can do with this roster and they won this game that they probably shouldn't have done, and we've probably said that 20 times this season. Mm-hmm. They just find ways to win. And it doesn't really matter if it's a 2-game series, a 3-game series, a 4-game series. Like, they fight, except against the White Sox in that one series where they lost 3 or 4 earlier. But that was the one anomaly in essentially the whole season. And I think with the Guardians now, it's getting Thomas. It's hopefully whoever else they get later on today. It's about stacking positive momentum together, back to back to back to back, as they position themselves for a legitimate, not just playoff push, but home field advantage, number 1 overall seed push in the American League, which would hopefully set up a run deep into the postseason for this young squad. And however they have to do it, whether it's with great pitching, great hitting, great defense, acquisitions, midseason call-ups, Stephen Vogt out-managing the other manager, whatever it may be, finding ways to put positive momentum on the board night after night, even in losses, getting certain contributions from certain players, and stacking that momentum day by day by day from now throughout August to position themselves perfectly for September is more important than the actual result of the game. But when you win 8-4 and you get 2 homers from Jose and a 3-run bomb from Bo Naylor, and Bobby goes 6 with 2 runs, you take it.
Yeah.
And you say, that's everything I could have asked for and more in one contest.
And look, if they don't, if they make moves and they do happen to flame out in the playoffs, I think people are smart enough and sports fans are smart enough to understand that, like, baseball playoffs is built different. Like, it ain't like the situation where you can, if you take an L in the playoffs in the first round, there's a lot of things that can happen. You just might have went up against a person and it was a buzzsaw. You might have, your sticks may have went dry. You may have went up against a pitcher that was just unhittable that night. There's all playoff losses. It's almost a crapshoot in the playoffs. Yep. But we're not, as long as you give yourself the best chance to win and you make moves and you put yourself in a position to say, look, we knew what our pitching staff was. That's why we went and got X, Y, and Z. Now, the move may have not worked out, but I'm going to give you credit for understanding what time you was at and trying to give yourself the best opportunity to win. And that's what it's about in baseball, is giving yourself the best chances to go out there and win. So for me, I think if they can continue to get these little small penny ante teams up out of here, it'll be all right.
First pitch between the Guardians and the Tigers today at 1:10 p.m. Gavin Williams on the mound. For the Guardians, the Tigers pitcher is still to be determined. Williams, he got the loss last game. He gave the 3-run home run to Javier Baez in his last start, but the Guardians scored 0 runs that game, which is unacceptable, and he took the L. So hopefully he pitches a similar performance minus the home run, and if he does, the Guardians should be in a great position to win. We'll break that down tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and if the Guardians do make any moves between the end of the show and 6 p.m. tonight, someone in the UCSS family, whether it's Bull, myself, Earl, Ant, Ty, G, Bull, Jay, whoever, it won't be Jason because he's on the beach. One of us will go on and give you a little instant reaction to the move, and then we'll break it down in full tomorrow here on UCSS. Ant?
Yeah, guys, and as Mike mentioned, we've talked Guardians for most of this first hour here, but if it's not enough for you, go check out Ultimate Guardians. They're going to be live tomorrow morning and Friday morning, so you'll get instant reactions if anything does happen tonight from Bull and Zach. Bull's back on panel tomorrow, but if you need more of his input, he will be on Ultimate Guardians tomorrow, I believe at 9:30 in the morning, normal time, Wednesday. Check it out.
Let's talk a little Browns now, and we have spent all summer essentially all offseason for the Browns talking about the potential of a new Browns stadium. Team Dome, team renovations, team downtown, team Brook Park. And for the first time since these debates began, we got someone from the Browns on the record giving their position on what they hope happens to the future of the Browns stadium. Let's hear it.
So I'll say first and foremost, from a football standpoint, any solution is like we're a yes, like two thumbs up, because any solution where we're improving our home environment, where we're improving the fan experience, like that's going to be great for us regardless of where, we're outdoors and indoors. I know, ownership, Dave Jenkins, our local politicians are hard at work on a solution. If you're asking my opinion personally, I personally think that we are like paying these guys to be athletes as opposed to gladiators. So I'd prefer like the dome solution. I'd prefer to be indoors. I think that's better for the team. And I also think being in the Midwest, with the elements and everything, it's better for our fans as well. It creates a better fan experience late in the year when we're making those playoff pushes. But I do want to emphasize, any solution's a good solution. We're happy whether it's a renovation, a build, whatever, because it just means that our home environment is that much more of a home field advantage here in Cleveland.
Well, that was Andrew Berry, and he has officially planted his flag on Team Dome. Jimmy Haslam said earlier this week from Browns training camp, he's not going to pay for the whole stadium. It's either the downtown renovation or the Brook Park Dome, and he's not going to put it on the ballot. But Andrew Berry is now the first official person with the Browns organization to plant his flag or her flag on either side of the debate. Gee, we have talked at length on our opinions, dome, outside. But should the GM have any say when it comes to whether or not Jimmy Haslam, however this new stadium solution comes to fruition?
Sure.
Should Berry have a say in what actually happens?
Yeah, because any general manager, the position that he serves in is general manager, which means generally he manages a lot of things. So when you talk to people and players want to come and think about free agency, or players want to think about re-signing with the Browns, obviously they care about whether or not they're outside or not, Tyvis.
Yeah.
The indoor facilities, what does the weight room look like? Hey, do I get any cafeteria sandwiches? What is the cooks? What does my family get? Like, all of these things have a big part in retaining and attracting new talent. And if you say you want to come to Cleveland, if you got a guy like Tyreek Hill and you want Tyreek Hill, do you think Tyreek Hill is going to stay in Florida where they don't really have taxes like that? And it's hot outside all the time, and you're going to attract him to a place where we do have taxes, and a lot of them, and you got to play outside in Lake Erie? You're not going. Certain people's going to be off the board automatically. So he's correct. Like, hey, the fan experience is better. Like, I think about going to tailgate inside a lot more. I think about going down to the stadium a lot in November or December or doing broadcasts or doing different things. It's a difference between inside and outside. And sometimes I think like this, man. You guys got to come on into the new age. Come on in. I know we want the tradition. We got the same uniforms. It's cool. I like that. We're a traditional team. But come on inside. And at the end of the day, if it costs me some more money, I'm going to be honest with you. What am I, 42, 43?
It ain't your money.
It's not my money.
You know, it might be, which is where I fall on this.
It might be your money, but here's the thing. Do I remember how much money I paid in taxes or the Browns winning Super Bowls?
Super Bowls.
Both. I don't remember that.
Both.
Both. Now you gas my.
You how much? Cut it out, both.
So let's not act like some people don't remember, because a lot of people are going through economic times where it's hard for them. But here's my thing. I think one thing that we've shown in this city is that the people are passionate about the Browns, and no matter what we've gone through, they've always supported the Browns through thick and thin, whether it's money or not.
Yeah, that's a fact. Listen, at the end of the day, I think everybody is pro-Dome, because everything he said, you want to increase the fan experience. There's nothing better than in December 12th, and it's negative 15 degrees outside, and you could be like, I'm going up here. We inside. So
and you can still tailgate outside.
We inside. And as a player, like I said, anytime I went to a dome, it's like, thank you. I do not
Indianapolis,
I don't have to sit there and think about, man, I gotta hurry up and get on this bench and sit on this heated bench, or I gotta go stand next to this blowtorch that's gonna be like 30 players huddled behind it. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I can literally focus on the game, which the elements play a part of that. So I get people like, oh, that's our advantage. No. You want people to come in there and you want to see the product great. You don't want to see having to run the ball 50 times because it's a blizzard outside. Like, you don't want to see that. Stop it. You want to see the deep ball being thrown and all these great plays happening. So, and as a free agent, you think about this. You talk about trying to get a free agent and you telling them, hey, come on to the Browns. Well, people would come in, they see the Browns weight room before they just renovated it. It's like, dude,
y'all living in back in the Stone Ages.
This is a garage.
What is this?
Then they like, let's go look at the indoor. Dude, it's only, what is it, 80 yards? Like, what is this? So yeah, all that stuff matters. And then you got to think, you're going to tell me, so I ain't going to have a great weight room, I ain't going to have a full indoor, and I got to play outside when it's cold?
I'm cool.
Yeah, no, I'm good on all that. Now you telling me you renovated the weight room. I don't know what you're going to do with that 80 yards. Y'all need to really just extend that thing.
Are they redoing it?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I heard they were.
They redoing the indoor?
Do not quote me on this. I think
they better give them 20 yards.
I think they are.
And you going to give me a dome? Yeah, I can do it. And the city is rocking. I can go downtown in the flats or something like that, West 6, and I have a good time and whatnot. Like, yeah, I would love to come to Cleveland. You see these athletes continue to re-sign here. Once you get here, you see the love and the passion that you get. It's a good place. So, yeah, anybody that don't want the dome is lying to themselves, and I would be pro-dome too if I was the general manager. Yes, he should have some say-so in it because he's the one that has to sell it to some of these free agents.
The question I asked is should Andrew Berry have a say, right?
Mm-hmm. I just answered it.
If Jimmy was going to pay for it himself, then no, Andrew Berry has no say. If Jimmy wants to pay for it himself, it is Jimmy's vision. It is Jimmy, whatever you want, you can get because it's coming out of your pocket.
But he just said he ain't
But
paying.
As soon as he said, oh, I ain't paying for the whole thing, then yes, Andrew Berry should have a say, not only because of what you said, Tyvis, but because in today's day and age of the NFL, what's the single most important position on the field?
Quarterback.
Unquestioned, right? Quarterback. Whether it's Deshaun Watson.
Really corner, but that's another story.
You done switched up? Okay, go ahead.
Whether it's Deshaun Watson, and hopefully it's Deshaun for the next 15 years, or whoever the quarterback is after Deshaun Watson, the Browns will heavily invest in that position. You have to succeed in today's NFL. And what do you do to put a quarterback in a position to succeed? Well, you don't have him throwing in 15-mile-an-hour winds and minus 30-degree wind chills like we had against the New Orleans Saints two seasons ago in 2022. You put him in the best position to succeed in today's era of the NFL where, A, it's hard enough to guard people. Tyvis cornerbacks are at a significant disadvantage. They get penalized for everything. You can't hit the quarterback. You can barely breathe on the quarterback. He's protected. So, yeah, give him every avenue and asset to help him thrive. And if that is playing indoors in a dome where there's no weather conditions, where your receivers, in theory, should be at their absolute fastest. I'm even less team dome, team renovated. I just want natural grass over anything. Like, give me natural grass, whether it's a renovated stadium downtown or a dome. I want natural grass over turf. I think it's so much better for the long-term health of the players.
They play on natural grass right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do play on natural grass. And I want it to stay that way. But a lot of the newer stadiums and newer fields
I'm
are
not
to the artificial turf,
which
I am out on. So if it was really dome versus artificial versus natural grass, I would go natural grass over the dome. But I have no issue with Andrew Berry coming out and planting his flag on either side, because he is the person, Tyvis, to your point, who has to persuade a lot of these players that Cleveland is the best chance for them to succeed. And for the Browns to reach their ultimate goals, I don't know how much of an advantage it is in today's day and age, having that outdoor home field advantage. Because guess what? Mahomes is still young, still in his prime for the next 15 years. He's already proven he can go on the road to Buffalo and Baltimore and win playoff games in the freezing cold in Arrowhead. He could do it here too. So let's build a dome and let the Browns get as good as they can.
And I know somebody will be in the chat or somewhere will say, these guys are so soft nowadays. Well, listen, let's go.
Oh, it's already happening.
Let's go. Let's go over.
You're calling Andrew Berry soft
this
too.
Is
just so you know
you
that.
know what? Anybody that says that probably sits on their couch and watches the game.
I'm just gonna go this. Yeah, I'm not going to the game.
They're not going to them December
listen,
games.
I'm soft. I'm not going out there.
I ain't saying that.
I am,
because I'm at the games.
I am not going to be outside in no outdoor. Like, here's the thing. See, back in the day, let's talk about the group of archaic things that people used to do. Back in the day when you were sick, they used to be like, let's go ahead and bleed you out. Yeah. They had a thing called bleeding because they thought that like the germs were in your blood. So if we bleed you, no, you're just bleeding to death, idiot. Like, that's not the way it works. There's a certain thing called concussion protocol. Remember before people used to call people soft? Like, because you got a concussion, you just rang your bell. You get back in here.
Yeah, you better smell that salt and get back in there.
Remember coaches used to say you used to be soft, you had to earn water? Mm-hmm. Let's earn water.
Remember a fullback?
Yeah, it's right?
That's not even that long ago.
It's 100 degrees outside, and you're like, you're not getting any water until you guys toughen up, and then people started dying. They said, hold on, let me do some science. Guys, let's come on into the 21st century. We have cell phones now. My car drives itself. We're still talking about whether guys should be outside throwing the ball in 16-degree weather. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't hurt the other team. That hurts yourself. You guys aren't available to play. I mean,
you also can't practice in that. That's the part of the home field advantage I never understood is
you're practicing inside.
You practice in the summer. You practice inside. Like, maybe you have one more day of practice in the cold leading up to a game, but it's not like, hey, we're going to go fly to Antarctica and practice 3 days in the tundra to be prepared for a December playoff game or a January playoff game.
It makes absolutely no sense. And I get that you want guys, but listen, by the way, they keep adding games. These guys aren't soft. They're playing 18 games. You think Jim Brown was tough? They ain't tougher than dudes playing 18 games. The softest dude in the world on a roster is tougher than 99.9% of the general population. Let's throw that out. At the end of the day, the Browns have never won a championship, so obviously playing in the cold weather has done nothing for their home field advantage at all. Like, I've been here forever, and we've never won. And
kickers suck.
Our kickers are still trash.
Shout out Dustin Hopkins.
Shout out to Hopkins, by the way.
Congrats on your extension.
And that's another thing. We give Phil Dawson all the love in the world because he can kick in monsoons and hurricanes. He doesn't have to do that. I'd just rather him be a regular kicker. I'm just saying.
Tavis, you're the one who actually played at the highest of high levels. Gee, no offense.
Yeah,
you played D1, Tavis.
It's levels to it.
How much difference was it? You mentioned going to the games, not even thinking about it, but just dome versus outside in the actual elements, in terms of preparation, in terms of.
Well, I mean, when you prepare, when you knew you was going to the dome, you didn't pay attention to the elements because it's like, this is not going to play a factor in it. And usually when you're practicing and you go into a dome, you usually practice on the indoor. So wherever you at, you practice on your indoor facility because this is going to be how it is in the game. When you have to play outside and it's going to them harsh environments, now we got to practice outside in the cold and stuff. And it's really not that fun. Like, it's really not, because if you're not doing nothing, like if you just sitting back, you get because it's like 4, 3, 1. Like, that's how your reps go. First team get 4 reps, second team get 3, then the last third team get 1. when the season comes, the third team don't even get no rest. But anyways, when that happens, while you sitting there, it's like I'm freezing. Like I'm sitting here freezing and all this and trying to get warm. So you don't really want to do that in a game. Like it's like I said, it's another thing that your mind is gonna be locked in on. Like don't get me wrong, when you hit the field, like you're focused on the game, but like when you're not, it's like you can't. It's not enjoyable. It's like let's hurry up and get this thing over with. Like let's hurry up and try to win, or let's run. Just run the ball. You hear people say, just run the ball.
Yeah, like,
both teams, let's just run the ball and get up out of here.
I don't think people understand what it is to be outside. The first thing that goes, like think about it. If you wasn't playing a game, right? If you wasn't playing a game. They didn't cancel school. They've made the decision that it's detrimental to your children being outside in sub-degree temperatures and they can have frostbite. But I don't know if toughness gets you past hypothermia. Hey, listen, there's a bunch of people on that Titanic that was tough as hell, right? Hypothermia is undefeated.
Never loses.
Never loses. The first thing that goes is your feet. Your feet be out there numb, running around. You're trying
feet and fingers.
Your fingers. Listen, then you be like, he has to catch that. he better catch that ball. These guys are soft and they can't. Sir, my capillaries are frozen in my hands.
They ain't trying to hear that.
I know people not trying to hear it, man. Maybe our fans should just like watching UFC. Maybe UFC is the sport for you, but I'm with Andrew Berry. This ain't Gladiator, bro. Give me inside control game, and I'll take that any day and twice on Sunday, McNuggets.
Yeah, the Browns actually switched up their practice schedule today of all days because it's raining at the Greenbrier. So elements, whether it's cold, whether it's wind, whether it's rain, can't impact a team's plans. And if you're in a dome, those are all taken out of the equation. So Andrew Berry, the first to plant his flag. I'm interested to see if the media who's still at the Greenbrier will ask Kevin Stefanski or Mike Vrabel or some of the other players now that Andrew Berry has actually gone on the record with his opinion, if they'd ask them and whether or not Stefanski and whoever else would actually give a clear-cut answer to whether or not he's team dome or team turf or team renovations. Ty, would you think Stefanski would answer that if he was asked?
Yeah, he seems like the type of guy because right now he'll be like he'll say something along the lines of what Andrew Berry says. If you're asking me my opinion, I'll definitely say I like a dome. But I mean, he from Minnesota. I mean, he played in Minnesota. Heck yeah, he wanted to. Listen, don't let them coaches fool you. They be cold on them sides, and they worse because they got to just stand there. So don't act like they don't walk past that blowtorch and all that stuff too. They be feeling it too. Yeah, they don't. Nobody want to stand out in the cold. Nobody does. Stop it. We need to cut this out. Everybody. Now, if they renovate the thing and they stay downtown, fine. That's fine. We'll just deal with it. But at the end of the day, if you're giving me an opportunity to be more comfortable where I can focus on actually playing football, I'm going to take that opportunity, yes.
I actually forgot real quick. Berry was the first front office member to go on the record and say it. On his podcast, Deshaun Watson over the summer also planted his flag in Team Dome. So on Team Dome, you have Berry and Deshaun. On Team Renovation, there's currently no member of the Browns team or front office that I'm aware of that has said.
The closest person that said renovation is Denzel. He said he just wanted to be in Cleveland. He just wanted to stay in Cleveland.
And I was telling Jay like this the other day. The thing for me is it's going to happen. Sometimes I have a very difficult time from being acting surprised. This is going to happen. They're going to get a dome. It's going to be in Brook Park. I don't know why all this other grandstand is going on. Everybody that has anything to do with the organization has moved that way. We just have to be why do I have to, as a media, I have to just, if there's anything that could happen. No, a rich guy has $1 billion.
He wants something.
And he wants something. When the last time a billionaire didn't get what he wants? Do y'all watch the news? It happens all the time, bro. And you or me or nobody else is going to get in the way.
Well, ain't it the one guy came out and said we're going to make him have to sell the team? What was the politician?
That was the local politician, yeah. But that's not enough power to even make a 1% dent in the Jimmy Haslam fund.
What you mean?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Come on.
If you have a strong opinion either way for Team Dome or Team Renovations, let us know in the comments, and we'll see if we get to some later in the show. And
I'll let you guys know that the chat currently is 84% for dome, 16% renovation. A lot of people did call us soft for wanting a dome.
Well, they're in the 16%,
You know what,
so
though?
it's the vocal minority.
They still want that dome, though.
I'm used to that because I said that I wanted a dome at Ohio State, and then everybody looked at me like I was crazy. But if Ohio State has to host one of these semi-playoff games, you don't want to be out there in January. So I'm not lying. You're going to be out there and you're going to be missing.
There's a reason all the big-time bowl games are in Florida, Louisiana, Arizona, the Rose Bowl, not up north. But we'll see with the new college football playoff how that pans out. Another interesting tidbit from practice yesterday for the Browns. Jerome Ford made his first appearance at training camp. He missed the first 3 days of practice because he was welcoming his firstborn child into the earth. So congratulations to Jerome Ford on becoming a father. Tyvis, are you a believer in the baby boost? And should we bet on Jerome Ford to score a touchdown week one now?
That's the thing. You have a kid, you see things totally different. It's like, I got to feed my kid. I don't care about none of that stuff. Like, my kid is going to eat. And if you in the way, I'm running straight through you. Like, that's just what it is. So, yeah, Jerome Ford got a newfound motivation that I'm interested to see what he does this season. I know with all the Nick Chubb talk, it's unfortunate for him because he's the victim of all that. Everybody, Nick Chubb, this. Is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? His thing is he got to go out there and say, I could care less if he come back or not. I'm still going to get mine when it's time, And my job is to be so good that we ain't going to miss Nick Chubb, He had some really good moments last year, and he has to be more consistent. He got to be more dependent. And I feel like where he left off towards the end of the season, he was really starting to climb. His vision was terrible at the beginning of the year, but he started to see things more clearly with more games that he played. So I'm actually interested to see how he attacks this season. Whether Nick Chubb starts it off or not, he's still going to get a lot of carries, especially early on, because Nick Chubb's probably going to get brought along slowly. So that means that every opportunity that he gets, he's got to maximize. He's got to think to himself, when I touch that ball, it's got to go to the paint because I don't know how long it's going to take Nick Chubb to get to Nick Chubb. And once Nick Chubb becomes Nick Chubb, my role is going to diminish unless I'm doing that well in this new offense and I'm just that effective that they have no choice to play me. And that's where his mindset got to be because, again, I got to feed my kid no matter what. Do you know what he had, a boy or girl?
I believe I saw on Twitter it was a baby boy, but I am not 100% sure. Do not quote me on that. That was a Twitter report.
Because I'm telling you, you got to eat. I got to feed. Like when my wife was pregnant, listen, you better move out my way.
Tyvus was out there looking like Venom.
You better move out my way.
Tyvus, Venom, kill.
The roid rage for Ty kicked in. He was the ultimate box safety. The ultimate
block safety. Hey, look, this is why football is the most. Football is the most drama-filled, riveting, crash show ever. Because it's like, man, like you said, you got people, like the football don't care about nothing. Like, you not only got to be out there, battling through injuries, right? Like, you got that side. But then you got the family side where you, going home, looking at your kids, knowing this ain't guaranteed. And then you got to know, I just had a kid, and I want Nick Chubb to come back. And Nick Chubb is over there lifting the whole weight room. And he yeah, I'm coming back, and I'm going to be there week one. And you well, I just had a kid. I'm looking at my reps. I better get, hey, listen, is the kid okay? We good? All the toes moving and everything? I got to get back to practice and work. That's the great thing about football is people be pushing people. It be counter narratives. It be real life be happening. That's why the great thing about it is once football season starts and you talking about what's happening on the field, that's the best feeling in the world because that competition just drives everything. People is getting cut sitting home. You go to work the next day. Can you think about it? What if this was UCSS was training camp, bro? You just walk in and Anthony gone. What the hell happened to Anthony? You see another
I got an option to play. I'm working at a comic book store.
Right? You see a whole nother dude pushing the buttons yeah, man. Hey, y'all got to be, that half hour thing, no, we need to be here an hour early. You what the hell happened? That's the way football be. Yeah. And they go right on like nothing happened. And they still got to answer questions and everything. But Yeah, shout out to him. I hope he's ready to go because it's like a camp battle. Like Nick Chubb,
it's a legit camp battle for RB2.
Right, it's a camp battle because Deontay Foreman is like, listen, don't just make me be no like short yardage back.
Yeah,
I done carried the rock at a high pace in this league. Don't play with me.
You do know it's this. So listen, for people that don't know, it's this thing called PP, player performance checks. They usually hit about March, and depending on where you was drafted or undrafted, the lower you was drafted, like so 5th, 6th, 7th round to undrafted, the more money you get every time you step on the field, all right? So,
that's crazy.
So for a guy like me that was undrafted, just being on the field, and you get the older vets that look out for you. So for example, a field goal block, them older vets them starters ain't doing that. Hey, go get you some money, man. So you gonna step out on that field? That's like $250 just for being out on the field. Just $250 for every play that you play.
That's crazy.
Increase. So when March come around, they total up how many plays you play.
Plays in camp or plays?
No, this is in game. In not preseason, regular season. In game. Every time you step on that field, it's a certain amount of money that you get, and they take all your plays and they multiply it and they send you this big fat check in March or April, and it's all the money, and it'd be like $25,000 and stuff.
Think about
that. You think about that on top of your salary. Yeah. So I say all that to say, Foreman or all these Hines, all these guys,
they sign.
I want to get on that. I need that PP check to be good and more.
When I look at Ford in this offense, there's two different offenses. The one where Nick Chubb's healthy and the one with Nick Chubb not being healthy. So for the sake of this, let's pretend he's not healthy to start the season. Foreman and Ford are your RBs 1 and 2 in whatever order you want. I think Foreman's more of your first and second down back. I think Ford's more of your third down back. Did you guys know that last year, Jerome Ford had the second most receiving touchdowns of any running back in the NFL, only behind Christian McCaffrey?
No.
He had 5 receiving touchdowns. McCaffrey had 7. His 5, second most in football, which surprised me because I didn't think of him as a great receiving back per se, but he graded out tremendously.
Oh, that's why they drafted him, because of his ability to catch out the backfield. Now, I don't recall him catching touchdowns. That's the problem.
He had the play action one with Flacco against L.A. He had the one against the Jets. He ended up with 5 on the season.
Yeah.
He also has a knack of turning nothing into something. His big plays last year, his highlight reel, his hoop mixtape of football would have been tremendous last year. He had a couple runs, mainly the one against Pittsburgh in week 2 when Nick Chubb went out, where he got stuck behind the line of scrimmage, scurried out to the left, and then made it 69 yards down the field. But he's not a perfect running back. And I think the one thing he has to improve upon the most this year is something I found from Next Gen Stats. Now, this was from November of last season. I could not find the updated number past November, but this was from week 12 of last season. I'm going to read this exactly from Amazon's Next Gen Stats. Quote, Ford has the highest average time behind the line of scrimmage at 3.15 seconds. That's why he can carry the ball 20 times and only net 44 yards. He lacks the vision and decisiveness needed to be an effective lead runner, end quote. He jumps and dances behind the line of scrimmage, which at times can open up these massive lanes that lead to 60-yard touchdown runs or 50-yard big-time plays and chunk plays. It can also lead to tackles for loss, putting you behind the chains, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 9 after you pick up 5 or 6 on first down. And he has to eliminate that from his game to become the most efficient version and effective running back within this new Browns system. That's what I hope, and I'm not sure you can teach that.
That was the
It feels like it's running style, but that's what I hope the Browns can kind of wean out of his game during camp.
He's got a new running backs coach.
Yep. Staley.
Which was successful for the Eagles for many years. So maybe he can teach him a thing or two that help him pick those things up. Deuce was a solid running back. I ain't going to say he was just the greatest guy of all time, but for the Eagles, he was definitely a really solid running back for them. And, if he can go in there and teach him some things, you got maybe the patience. It's probably about acceleration. When you coming off that ball, like if they run stretch, like I was – me being the DB, listening to them talk to the running backs, them stretch plays, you supposed to stretch it as wide as you can, to get it out there. And then you got to put your foot in the ground and you got to get vertical when you see your seam open. It's just stuff like that. It comes with acceleration. He's got to work on his acceleration. Maybe you get the ball, You know, maybe you ain't going 100%, but you're trying to surface the thing. And once you see it, put your foot in the ground and get vertical and go. And I think that was the thing that he got better at towards the end of the year. He found his gap or his seam quicker, and he was able to get through it. Because in the NFL, gaps open and close real quick. And you gotta, when you see it, you gotta go. And hopefully he built off of what he had last year towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I was just watching something the other day talking about why it is that Trent Richardson wasn't good.
No, he had no vision.
He
couldn't
just
see any hole.
It was like, and when you watch it at home, sometimes it's like, man, why did you just cut right there?
Yeah, he missed.
And the broadcast angle is so much different,
right, than in real life.
Yeah,
in real life, when you if you in the being a defensive lineman, when you in the box. Like, to be truthful about your situation, like we don't even put the running backs in there. Like they learn you to watch football at a different angle. Like we don't watch the quarterback or the running back. The offensive lineman will tell you where the ball is going. Right? You'll get there based on what they're doing.
You're
right?
talking about it from a D lineman.
Yeah, from our perspective. Like we're not watching y'all. Like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I tell you, from a box safety standpoint, I'm looking at the tight end, and I'm looking for a guard to pull. That tell me everything I need to know. I don't need to look at the running back. Cause if that tight end blocked down, all right, they run it whatever way he blocked down, gonna tell me where they're going. And if I see that guard pull, I know I got to cross face and get to the other side B gap. It was just like it's just instinctive. You just seen it and you just knew what to do.
And you be like, all right, well, I'm not really looking at the guy, like, and then it's different. Like you could be in a 3-4 or the 4-3, and that's completely different. Like. If you're doing a 3-4, you're looking at the guy to the next. You over the tackle, but you're looking at the guard or the tight end to figure out how they gonna block me. But then obviously in the 4-3 is just different. I think back to kind of like Jerome Ford. I think it comes with repetition. Also, it comes with having a consistent group of guys that are up front. And if you got a consistent group of guys, like, okay, Wyatt Teller is going to reach that guy. He's not going to just let him roll. He's going to reach, and he's going to try his best to reach him. And then I'm going to press the hole, and then I'm going to cut back and I'll get vertical. So it just, they all work in tandem. And hopefully, for me, I just want to see the offensive line be as cohesive as possible so everybody can get stuff to jail.
It's a great point on the offensive line for a guy who needs the blocks to develop because he may not have the vision of a Chubb or an elite running back. That cohesion is extremely important, and it wasn't there last year with all the rotating parts at tackle. And let's talk a little Cavs for a sec before we bring in our guest here in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, before we get to the Cavs, guys, I love sports. I do those ad reads. I love concerts. I love going to stand-up comedy. And I use Game Time to get all my tickets for everything I love going to because you can get 60% off by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and all that. I personally love its all-in pricing feature. It gives me the total upfront, so there's no surprise fees when I go to check out. And I like being able to see the concert stage. I love being able to see right behind home plate. The panoramic view from the seats lets you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. So what are you guys doing? Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but you just create your account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
All right, guys, Isaac Okoro is still out there for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He has yet to sign his qualifying offer, which is $11.8 million, which the Cavs extended to him earlier this summer, making him a restricted free agent. No team has jumped at the offer to match it and/or exceed said offer, which then the Cavs would have the ability to match. But Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com reported over the weekend that the Cavs have offered Okoro and his camp a multi-year deal worth somewhere between $8 million and $10 million per year, and Okoro is yet to sign that contract or agree to said contract. In your mind, Tyvis, with how close the Cavs are to the luxury tax, and more importantly, their $17 million gap between where they currently are without the Okoro contract and the first apron of the luxury tax, what's the best course of action here for Okoro and the Cavs? Should it be the qualifying offer? Should he take $8 to $10 million a year on a multi-year deal? Or should they see someone else to find him in restricted free agency and see if the Cavs will match?
For him, I think that...
Let's start with him, from his perspective.
For him, Of course, he's not. He doesn't want that. He don't want to be in a multi-year deal because he probably feels like, I can go out there and I can show some things and I can. All it takes is 1 year. I just need to do it 1 year and I can get as much money as, what was you estimating, 50 million, something like that. What was you saying?
At some point this year, I was guessing like 80 mil.
See, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, see.
Before the playoffs, yeah, he was playing.
See what I'm saying? So he, in his mind, he thinks to himself, let me just take a 1 year deal, and if I can just do it in the playoffs just one time, I just need to do it one time in the playoffs, it can change the rest of my life. But from a standpoint that if he doesn't, then he's back in this similar thing next year. Well, actually, he'll be unrestricted next year, so he can sign with whatever. So I would think for him, I don't think he really should sign a multi-year deal. I think he should sign a 1 year deal and hopefully have a really good year this year, play well in the playoffs because you're going to get there. Then you can sign for however much you want. That, if I'm from his perspective. Cavs' perspective, that's about right. That's about right. If you could get him on a multi-year deal and lower that number, that hit down, then perfect. That's fine. But you got his replacement anyways, who you signed with, Jalen Tyson. So it doesn't matter if he does or don't. I think you will miss his defense if you do essentially let him walk. Due to the fact that you got Kenny Atkinson coming in here and he wants to install his offense, and I think that it'll be more of an offensive focus point. And you probably need a defensive guy that's going to come in and still lock down some of these guards and stuff like that, because you don't want Evan Mobley to always have to check these guards and stuff. So I think that he will be missed in that role, and I think that will be a perfect deal for the Cavs.
Is he worth 8 to 10, G?
Listen, if he was smart, he'd take that and keep it pushing. He'd take that right there and sign it. Listen, when you talk about multi-year, what you talking about? Like 3 years?
It just said multi-year.
Okay, say.
I'm guessing let's say 3 for 30. Let's just call it 3 for 30.
Man, that's $10 million a year. I don't know listen, that's life-changing money. Like you might want to rule that out, bank that 30, and figure out what you need to do. But to me, for a guy who has not figured out like the offensive side of the thing, especially in the playoffs. Now, he plays well during the regular season, but does not shoot the ball well in the playoffs. And sometimes he's borderline not playable in the playoffs.
Can I stop you? Mm-hmm. He was unplayable in 2 playoffs in a row now. He took 30 – Fedor put the stat in the article. He took 35 attempts in the playoffs this season from 3. 34 were tracked as open or wide open by NBA, which means 4 or more feet of distance between the shooter and the closest defender. Teams do not guard him in the playoffs. That is not a debate. That's not an opinion. That is a trackable, certifiable fact that teams do not guard Isaac Okoro in the playoffs, and they are willing to let him shoot wide-ass open threes because he doesn't take enough to hurt him. If he's going to take – he averaged 3.13 attempts per game this year. He shot 40%. By law of averages, he's making 1.2 threes a game. Teams are willing to sag off in the paint to deter other people to shoot.
That's nothing.
If Okoro's going to make him pay with 1.2 threes per game. Even they shot a good 40% in the regular season, the volume isn't enough to justify not having to guard him.
And I don't want to make it this, but it just goes back to there's obvious flaws on the way the roster is constructed. And when you take Isaac Okoro 5th, and he's a lottery pick, you need him to be elite at something. He's good defensively. You need him to be market smart. If I'm picking,
that's NBA Defensive Player of the Year level good defense.
I need you to be and if you ain't got the offensive game, you gotta be locked down. And I would prefer if you were locked down and you were 6'7" or 6'8". Mm-hmm. He's a good defender for being 6'4". I don't know if that's worth it. That's why I would take it. If I was in a position, give me that little, because I don't 8 to 10. If I could get the 10 for 3 and maybe an option, come on. Give me a player option for the last one, and then I could decline it if I'm balling and move somewhere else.
Can I give you both sides of this coin here? On the one hand, if you're Okoro, the $11.8 million qualifying offer is more than the Cavs are reportedly offering. Plus, then you hit unrestricted free agency next year, and you're hoping to cash in. You hope one more season of offensive progression in a new system that would theoretically allow him to do more on the offensive end, leads to more numbers, and eventually gets him a bigger payday down the road. But if you look at the Cavs roster, how is Atkinson – and I don't know an answer. I'm just asking the question. How is Atkinson going to feel about playing a guy in a motion offense who hasn't shown the propensity to create? He's not great off the dribble. Teams leave him open. He's a catch-and-shoot guy, but he hasn't shown much more in this motion-style offense. How does he kind of fit into that with Mobley and Allen, who aren't shooters yet, when you need guys moving to get the most out of Atkinson's offense? He's going to be the 8th or 9th guy, right? So is he going to play enough minutes, frankly, to earn himself the numbers that then earn himself a bigger payday, which is more than $10 million?
And would you play him over a guy who's a first-round pick who's shown upside that you can play and develop?
Potentially. So that's the Okoro side. From the Cavs side, and I'm, once again, not saying yes or no, I'm just asking the question. You are $10 million from the luxury tax. You're $17 million from the first apron of the cap. The Cavs have said multiple times they do not want to start the luxury tax clock until Evan Mobley's salary kicks into the extension, which is next year. They do not want to be a luxury team this year. So from their standpoint, do they truly want Okoro to take the qualifying offer and or opt into the cheaper deal, which puts them right up along the luxury tax to begin with? And then they got to finagle some salaries to then get back under it. I think it's almost, in a way, kind of a no-win for both sides. Okoro's going to want to play and prove. He could do more to get a bigger payday down the road. But does he fit into what the Cavs are going to want to do offensively next season? And if you are going to take a 3-year, $10 million per annual average salary deal, is that selling him short, and is that making it so locked into this roster that you don't have flexibility either way?
I know the answer to this, but could you finagle some sort of late first-round pick for him? Or on a team that got multiple?
Are you saying like somebody going to trade?
If he signs the qualifying offer and trade him?
Yeah.
At the deadline, potentially. But I don't think you could trade him right away.
Because I thought it was a natural progression. I thought it was best for him to part. I looked at what the roster was doing. I looked at the money they was going to be available. That's why in different trades, I always had him packaged in one of these trades when it looked like you was going to move a guy like Darius Garland.
I looked up real quick. Let me find this. I looked up guys in the league making between $8 and $12 million. So between what the low end of the Cavs reported and the qualifying offer. These are just names. Some are better, some are worse. T.J. McConnell, Alex Caruso, Buddy Hield, Talen Horton-Tucker, Trey Jones, Chris Paul, Gabe Vincent, Terrence Mann, Dante DiVincenzo, Aaron Nesmith, Royce O'Neal, Kelly Oubre, Caleb Martin, Sam Hauser, and Simone Fontecchio.
That's all of them. Except for like one of
the last one. I'll take every last one of them.
But I read those names to say, like, that's the range that he's in. That's probably the right range of what he deserves to make.
He's
lower than that.
DiVincenzo?
Oh, it's somewhere in the range.
Gabe, what's in it? Listen,
give
me Chris Paul, give me Terrence Mann, give me all of them.
I'm not saying I'm just saying, like, that's the range of players from the whole
right.
So they giving him a pretty decent deal.
No, he's getting a bargain.
I think the offer is relatively fair.
Take it
he's getting
for a guy like, and we crushed George Niang in that contract, right? We crushed that contract with the Cavs signed.
Yeah.
It was like, it's too much money, and then last year was the worst case scenario where he wasn't playable in the playoffs. Part of the reason George Niang got the contract he got from the Cavs was he was a guy who you looked at who had more playoff experience than anyone on the roster, including Donovan Mitchell, who had come through in the playoffs not just once, but in 2 and 3 separate playoff occasions. And then last year was a catastrophe from George Niang. But he got paid because guess what? He was a guy the Cavs hoped they could count on in a playoff rotation. And Isaac Okoro hasn't proven that yet. In 2 different playoff trips, he was unplayable against New York, and he was essentially unplayable against Orlando and Boston last year. So he doesn't get that, regular season, whatever, playoff boost, there's a little extra money. Like, he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt.
He don't. He's not going to. That's why I'm saying you might want to take that bread they offer you.
Yeah.
Try to
$30 million. That's life changing.
That's life changing bread.
It may be 3 for $24. Like I said, it was just reported by Chris Fedor, multi-year between 8 and 10. The qualifying offer is 11.8.
$24 million.
And then he probably done already made how much in his career?
I can look it up. Give me a sec.
First round pick.
You first round pick?
Top 5 pick. A lot of other guys from his class have been Toppin got, is it 3 or 4 for 58? Whatever, he got close to 60. Denny Avia got 55
Where did he go, the Pacers?
Stay with the Pacers. Jalen Smith, who was the 10th pick in that draft, just signed a 3-year, $27 million contract with Chicago.
All right, they doing him a favor then.
And plus, what he could do is he could stick around. Isaac Okoro is a guy that's going to stick in the league a long time. Isaac Okoro ain't going to be a dude that's going to flash out, flame out of the league because he did something. He good character dude, clean cut, no problems, no issues, nothing. He going to play hard.
He's made $29 million in his life.
Oh, yeah.
Like his rookie contract paid him $29.1 million.
Oh, he
rich. He about to take the 3 for 24.
Take that 3.
You
come on, Titus.
That's 50. You got $50
million. You good. And you don't look like you spending it nowhere. You look like you do right by your money. Yeah. I don't want to count nobody's pockets, but I don't see you on the gram.
50M, shoot.
He did get hacked on Twitter.
I did see that one time.
Recently got hacked.
And everybody realized.
What did he say?
It was
some weird
stuff.
I gotta Google it.
And it was funny because everybody at the bottom was like, "Oh yeah, Isaac Okoro definitely got hacked."
Because he doesn't tweet.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he was making
he was going crazy.
Some iffy comment, and he was replying like random people.
I was like, "Nah, this is definitely not Isaac Okoro. Have fun while you at it."
And there's the whole potential of a sign and trade with Okoro, but it gets so iffy with these new luxury tax and apron and what you can and you can't trade and the salary implications of what you can take back versus can't take back. I think the best course of action, if I'm Isaac Okoro, I'm honest, 3 for 27 sounds pretty good when you're looking at the other guys in the league who are making that much money. But with the new TV deal rights, all these contracts are going up. So maybe even if he gets paid in the same range he would have got paid this year, the equivalent of 3 for 27 is 3 for 35 next year, 3 for 36. So who knows? Hope Isaac gets paid. I hope they all get paid. But it is certainly a tricky cap situation for the Cavaliers to navigate over the coming days. And do we have a guest?
We do not have our guest yet. I am currently working on trying to get a hold of him. So, guys, we have a couple options if we want to talk about some stuff before he joins us here. Earl wants to know what your guys' expectations are for Gavin Williams tonight after having 9 strikeouts the last time he faced
Detroit.
Yeah. So if you guys want to go back to baseball, we can go back to baseball. I do have an overtime topic lined up for football if we want to get into something fun while we wait for our guest.
Before we do
I'm going to let you guys take what you want.
Before we do that, I'm looking at Madden dropped a running back top 10.
Oh, who is it?
You know, CMC's a 99.
I saw a guy 99.
You know who number 2?
Who?
Take a guess.
Brees Hall.
They've been liking everybody for the Jets. The Jets is overpowered in a lot of stuff, and I don't see why. I'm going to go with Brees Hall.
Nick Chubb, 96. Overall.
Hell yeah.
With a speed.
I don't say
I
it.
just
Got his
overall.
overall. CMC, 99. Nick Chubb, 296. Derrick Henry, 94. Saquon Barkley, 92. Joe Mixon, 91.
Joe Mixon, there's no way
That's
he is
crazy.
hell.
Joe Mixon is an 86 at best.
Travis Etienne. Where is Brees Hall? Travis Etienne, 90. Josh Jacobs, 89. Kenneth Walker, the third.
Brees Hall's not in the top 10?
Aaron Jones, 88. Pacheco, 87. That's your top 10.
Brees Hall in the top 10.
That's it. Hey, that's what they say.
I mean, he all right.
That's outrageous.
96.
So they're obviously,
go ahead then, Nicholas.
They're obviously,
I see you, baby.
All right, well, we got our guest here, so let's do a read. We'll bring in our guest, and we'll discuss some of these Madden rankings here in a second after we talk to Trey Wingo.
Too many buttons to hit. Guys, as you know, I love sports. I love them so much I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports just aren't sporting like I want them to. FanDuel, however, keeps me in sports whenever I want and wherever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day all summer long. Head on over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in Trey Wingo to the show, one of the smartest guys around when it comes to analyzing football. Looks like he's joining us from the golf course. How you doing today, Trey?
Oh, I'm good. If I'm joining you from the course, I'm breaking all kinds of rules. I'm wearing a collarless shirt, so no, I'm just out to roll. I would be kicked off my course pretty quickly if I showed up in this T-shirt.
When you're Trey Wingo, I feel like you could break all the rules on a golf course, though, Trey. I feel like there's no dress code when it comes to reaching that level.
Well, there's a lot of second balls I take, that's for sure. But
Well, Trey, thank you so much for joining us today. Very interested and curious to get some of your thoughts on the Browns as they get ready for the upcoming season. But any Browns discussion we have this year starts and ends with Deshaun Watson. So I'm curious to know, are you confident that Deshaun can get back to his Houston Texan ways? No? Easy.
No.
Why not?
Why would you be? Well, why would you be? I guess my question is, what has he shown you since he's been there that's going to make you think that he will? I'm not saying he can't, but you asked me if I was confident. And I've seen 1.5 seasons of him in a Cleveland Browns uniform, and it has looked bad. They made the playoffs because of Joe Flacco and a defense. And they gave Deshaun Watson, at the time, the most guaranteed money in the history of the NFL. It's going to go down as the worst contract ever. And the only way they justify that contract is if Deshaun Watson plays the way he did when he played for the Texans. I have absolutely no idea if he will. He has the potential, and he has the team around him to do it, but he has shown us nothing in those 1.5 seasons with the Browns that would lead you to believe that he is going to return to that form. He can, but you ask me if I'm confident, and I have no reason to be confident right now.
Trey, there's when you look at the overall, I guess, performance of Deshaun Watson, I can't remember a player in the history of the game, especially at quarterback, who would have fallen so far from a point where he was at one point in time a top 5 quarterback, borderline top 5, at least top 10 quarterback, that would have fallen off. That would have fallen off without having some major injury or some major issue physically.
I mean, he had a major issue. Let's just be honest about that. I mean, he had a major issue. And those things tend to affect you psychologically as much as anything else. And I guess the question is, how much is that still a part of this?
And so I guess if you get to a point where you figure he does figure it out psychologically, you did say that you think that there's a possibility he can get there. Physically, I don't see anything wrong with him, but the psychological part, if he puts that behind him, is that a path to him becoming the guy he used to become, or not even that, but a competent quarterback?
Yeah, look, I mean, just to sort of validate what you're saying here, I can tell you with great certainty that in the 2017 draft, the Chiefs had Deshaun rated almost as high as they had Patrick Mahomes. They had Patrick Mahomes first on their board, but if they weren't able to get Patrick, they were going to go after Deshaun. And I feel pretty confidently that if Deshaun Watson had gone to Kansas City instead of Houston, we might be looking at a very different quarterback. Where you go matters so much in the NFL. And going from the disaster that the Texans were after the 2019 season. I mean, they had a 24-0 lead on the road and were outscored 51-7. Like, they were outscored 51-7 after. And then, of course, it all fell apart, and the Texans became a joke, and that scarred him as well, I'm sure. So, you know, where you go matters. Like, if he had gone to a different situation, he might be looked at very differently now. It's all there for him still. It's just a matter of where he is. Like, Ben Crenshaw's line about being a good golfer is, I'm 6 inches away from being a really good golfer, and that's the difference between my left ear and my right. Okay? There's no debating Deshaun's physical skills. Any issues Deshaun has have to do with how he's processing everything. And I understand that it's a lot to process. But you know, for him to get back let me put it this way, for him to validate the contract, he's got to figure that part of it out.
Trey, last year, the Browns had a really good offense under Kevin Stefanski. This year, they go out and they get Ken Dorsey. How do you think his input to the offense affects the Browns' overall offense? And are you in agreement that Kevin Stefanski should still call plays this season?
Yeah, I'm a big Kevin Stefanski fan. I think he's done an amazing job. And the problem is, like Nick Sirianni, when he got the Eagles job, he started to call plays, and then he realized, well, I can't really be a head coach if I'm calling all the plays. And it was outside of his bandwidth. It might be inside Kevin's bandwidth. You know, Ken Dorsey kind of got scapegoated last year for what went on in Buffalo. And as it turns out, there might have been a lot more issues besides Ken Dorsey with the Buffalo Bills and their reliance on Josh to do everything. They did run the ball a little more after Ken left, and I think that obviously if you can get Nick Chubb back and running, you have to rely on him a lot. But I think Kevin has the bandwidth to do both things, and I think that he needs to make sure he sort of defaults to his best judgment in the situation and not just say, okay, I brought this guy in to run the offense, I'll let him run the offense. Because at the end of the day, what happens, wins and losses, they're going to be on Kevin Stefanski, they're not going to be on Ken Dorsey, and he has to do whatever he feels like he needs to do to put them in the best position to win.
When you look at the AFC North as a whole, Trey, it's a division that we've said on this show many times we could see all 4 teams winning and all 4 teams finishing in last place. We think it's the best division of football, and frankly, it's not that close. Heading into the 2024 season, how do you foresee this division playing out in terms of, is there a cream of the crop, or are all 4 of these teams that tightly packed together? You could see it falling in the same fashion we can, where it's really anyone's game.
Well, I mean, the Ravens were the number 1 seed last year, and they hosted the AFC Championship game, and they fell to Kansas City. So they lose a couple of players. They bring in Derrick Henry. I would default to them as the number 1 team in that division, and then I think you guys are right there. And Cincinnati. Cincinnati is really interesting to me this year because it's been a weird offseason, right? I mean, the whole Jamar Chase contract thing, and then Mike Brown doing the most Mike Brown thing ever, saying, well, it's not really time to negotiate now. It's time to focus on football. I'm like, well, why didn't you negotiate before? That's the most Bengals thing ever. And look, I'm not going to lie to you. Joe Burrow's offseason has me a little concerned. Okay? I'm just throwing it out there. Like Bill Parcells used to have this line, never be a star QB. In other words, don't be a star. Just be a quarterback. And Joe's out there. He went to that fashion show in Paris. And, he's gone full Eminem, Method Man, whatever, with his hair and all this kind of stuff. And look, Joe is an amazing athlete, but my biggest concern for Joe is, can he stay healthy? And I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of little things, that are sort of under the surface with Cincinnati, and they're little things now, but it feels like these might be things that boil up and become much bigger things. Let's just say if they get off to a slow start.
Trey, here's a great thing. How do you see Pittsburgh? For me, they here in Cleveland, they freak me out a little bit because they always seem to be like 8-8. Like they went to the playoffs last year. Nobody remembers. You got Justin Fields. You got Russell Wilson. My worst nightmare is that they figure out Russell Wilson isn't it, and then they bring Justin Fields in at the end of the season. And they get things rolling with the run game, and run play action. Where do you see things going with the Steelers? Are they more of a playoff team or more of a just nice story last year?
Well, I think that obviously they had to improve on their quarterback play from last year. They had that stretch where they couldn't score. And obviously, Kenny Pickett is a great example of be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. He didn't want to compete for a job in Pittsburgh. Now he's buried behind Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. If he had a chance, if he just wanted to compete, he might have played. The Justin Fields thing I think is very interesting. Going back to what I said about Deshaun, where you go matters. Mm-hmm. Look at the situation Caleb Williams is walking into in Chicago. You have Keenan Allen. You have DJ Moore. You have Cole Kmet. You have DeAndre Swift. You have Rome Odunze that you just drafted as well. And you have a Bears defense that's a top 10 defense in the NFL now. Well, Justin Fields, if he walked into that situation, Justin Fields would probably still be the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He walked into Velus Jones and Darnell Mooney and the worst defense in the history of the Bears franchise. Like, that matters. Grade what you see out of Justin Fields. I'm curious to see what Mike Tomlin and company, they have real offensive weapons in Pittsburgh. They have a receiving core. They have a running game. I'm really curious to see if Justin does push Russell, because, it doesn't Steelers anything. It's the Broncos that are paying Russell $30+ million. They've got him on the league minimum. So there's no financial push for them to play Russell Wilson. And they've got Justin on a short-term contract as well, so it might be in their best interest to see, okay, maybe Justin is the way to go because of what the future might bring, as opposed to what it might be with Russell.
Trey, speaking of defenses, last year the Browns defense was top tier. Do you think that that's something that they can do again this year? And how do you explain the home versus away, where they were great at home and then away they struggled?
Yeah, the splits were crazy last year. Like, Indianapolis lights them up on the road, right? And we can talk about some of the ridiculous calls at the end of that game, which really didn't make any sense, but they were still going up and down the field on them. It was crazy how much better they were. What was it? I think under 14 at home and over 31 on the road last year. I think they're still going to be good because Myles Garrett is still there and the rest of that unit is still intact. But they do need to find a more consistent level of play. They need to level out. They need to be. They don't need to be great on the road. They just don't need to be terrible on the road. And they've just got to get more consistent when they leave the dog pound, because when they play at home, they're almost impossible to figure out.
Trey, who do you think ends up having a better season this year? Deshaun and the Browns or Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
That's really a great question. I said this last year about the Jets, and I'll say it again. It should work, but history suggests it won't. I mean, we're talking about the Jets, okay? They always find a way to screw it up. So, I mean, like, whatever it is, and I know, Aaron got hurt after 4 plays. But that's what happens. Like, it should have worked with Brett Favre when he went to the Jets, right? They started out great and then fell apart down the stretch. I have a buddy of mine who's a Jets fan, and his line is, whomever the Jets pick, I know it's the wrong pick because the Jets made the pick. So I would say, it should be Aaron Rodgers with the Jets based on the team that they have around him. But that division is no joke either, except for the Patriots, which is kind of a weird thing to say considering it was the exact opposite for all these years. The division was a joke, and then there were the Patriots. And now it's the exact other way around. I would probably go with Deshaun because I've seen that team cohesively work. The Jets find a way to mess it up all the time. It should work. It absolutely should work. But I got to see it before I'll believe it.
You bring up the Jets. You talked about Deshaun Watson. This is the greatest hits right here. I contest that right now we're living in an era like with Michael Jordan, right? Like, so Jordan played, all the greats never won. Ewing never won. Barkley never won. Right now we're playing in an era where if you play in the AFC, you have to play some of your best football just to sniff the playoffs. I think right now we might be living in the golden era of that position and just how hard it is to win a championship in the AFC.
Well, we are, because 15 exists. I mean, let's just be honest about it, right? You can have your other quarterbacks that you like, and you can do that. I'll take 15, and I have the receipts. Yeah. In the Super Bowl era, there are only 3 quarterbacks that can claim multiple Super Bowl MVPs and multiple regular season MVPs. Tom Brady, I think, has 5 Super Bowl MVPs and 3 regular season MVPs in his 22-year career. Joe Montana had 2 regular season MVPs and 2 Super Bowl MVPs in his 17-year career. Patrick Mahomes has been a starter for 6 years, and he has 2 regular season MVPs and 3 Super Bowl MVPs in 6 seasons as a starter. So we're talking about the outlier of all outliers. Somebody posted something yesterday. Since 2001, there have been 125 instances where a team was down in the fourth quarter of a playoff game by 7 points or less, and they needed to score 7 or more points to either win the game or send the game into regulation. Tom Brady is about 50% in those situations. Drew Brees is about 40% in those situations. Only one quarterback since 2001 is perfect in those situations, and that's Patrick Mahomes. He's 7 out of 7 in those situations. And that even includes the 2021 AFC Championship game when they eventually lost in overtime because he needed the 3 points to get them to overtime. The point being is, when the Super Bowl was in Vegas last year, I said, what's the number one rule in Vegas? Never bet against the house, right? The Chiefs. The Chiefs are the house because of Patrick Mahomes. They had 1 touchdown drive in that Super Bowl. When was that touchdown drive? When they needed a touchdown to win the game. Okay. The only other touchdown they had was after a muff punt. He threw it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who amazingly caught it. That was the headline. He actually caught a pass. And that was fine, but they were down. The Niners kicked a field goal in overtime. They had to have a touchdown to win the game, and that MFer said, "Follow me. I'm driving the bus." I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. The coldest thing I've ever seen any athlete do was last January, before the final game of the regular season against the Chargers. And this was the Chiefs' worst year. They led the league in drops and all kinds of issues with receivers. It was their worst season statistically in terms of wins and losses. And Patrick texted his family on his text chain, his mom, his dad, Brittany, his wife, and said, "You can look this up. This is honest to God truth. I've decided we're going to win the Super Bowl. Not that I think we can get there. Not that I think we have a chance. I've decided," as if nobody else has a say in the matter.
That's crazy.
Turns out he was right.
Yeah, he's rarely wrong. Trey, we appreciate you joining us. We'll get you out of here on this one, but I am currently sitting in a seat that is occupied by Jay Crawford twice a week, and I know you worked with Jay back in there. I was hoping you had a story of Jay Crawford you could share with us that we could give him shit for when he comes back.
Well, listen, I enjoyed my time with Jay. We didn't get to work together much, but when we did, we always had fun. I will tell you this. Jay's love of Cleveland and passion for Cleveland sports is unmatched by anyone I've ever known. And I absolutely respect the hell out of him for that, because that has not been an easy undertaking all these many years. And he has worn that banner and been such a pro-Cleveland sports guy for as long as I've known him. I really, literally tip of the cap to Jay for that.
Awesome. Well, Trey, we thank you so much for joining us here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Enjoy the rest of your walk, and hopefully next time you are on the course, you hit them straight.
That'll be in about 2 hours. Can't wait. See you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Trey. That was Trey Wingo. Make sure you check him out on Twitter at WingoZ. And we got a super chat to wrap up the show here, and then quite an interesting overtime topic that I'm excited to dive into.
Yeah, guys, our only super chat today comes from Brett Watson. Operation Plunger. Time to load up all the middle infielders and trade them for a rotation starter.
Shout out to Operation. I see what you did right there. I need 50% on that, though. Don't be starting. I see any T-shirts with Operation Plunger. I need 50%. Shout out to you.
They should do that, though, man, because they're not going to use them.
And so tell us what's coming up in overtime. Then we'll go back to the Madden running back rankings to close out the show.
Yeah, so I found a fun tweet this morning from Dov Kleeman. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Dov Kleeman.
Not even close.
His account got sold to be an engagement farmer, but he still puts out some funny stuff.
I thought this one was pretty fun. Steve, if you want to take it live here, we'll tease it a little bit. He re-split up the NFL divisions, and we're going to go through and see what the divisions would look like and who would win them. As usual, Kansas City is going to bully their division. So
the Browns would be in a division in this exercise with Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. Well, that's a hell of a division.
Whoa.
Yeah, so if you want to see us break all this down in overtime, make sure you get your memberships going. Coach's tier for overtime, and that's what we'll be talking about today.
So, Ty, pull back those Madden rankings again.
They got them right here.
So
running backs and receivers is the only two.
So they clearly give a ton of credence to what you've done in the past. If Joe Mixon is a 91 and Breece Hall's not up there, that is an absolute atrocity to Breece Hall. They have to be giving you the old man bonus at that point. But
you got receivers up there?
Yeah, you want the top 10?
Well, no, give me the running backs again, then receivers.
Right. Running backs, CMC, 99 overall. Nick Chubb, 96. Derrick Henry, 94. Saquon Barkley, 92. Joe Mixon, 91. Travis Etienne Jr., 90. Josh Jacobs, 89. Kenneth Walker III, 88. Aaron Jones, 88. Isaiah Pacheco, 87.
There's just no world in this entire universe where Joe Mixon's the fifth best running back in football.
Maybe they see something we don't see. Now he's with
they
must
be
the
watching
Texans now.
They must be watching 2017 tape.
Yeah,
that's outrageous.
They must really these ratings get knocked out anyway after the first patch.
I saw the receivers, but let's go over the receivers too.
No, number 1, Tyreek Hill, 99. Jay Jettis, 98. CeeDee Lamb, 96. A.J. Brown, 95. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 95. Devontae Adams, 94. Jamar Chase, 93. Stephon Diggs, 92. Brandon Ayuk, 91. And Mike Evans, 91.
Dang, Jamar Chase. They got you down there like regular. That's regular.
He got the injury, the injury hit.
That's and by the way, the best player. Look, by the way, the way it works with the meta and the algorithm goes, the way it works is your boy's the best. You just named him top.
Tyreek
Hill. His speed is a 99.
It probably is.
His speed is 99, and he's a 99. So pretty much
he should be broken.
He's broken.
Yeah.
So a lot of people playing with the Dolphins this year.
Yes, because Waddle was probably like a
and they got
89.
And Mostert.
I gotta figure out what team I'm gonna play with on Madden this year. I usually go against the grain.
People still play Madden?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start. I might start off with the Falcons.
You know, I'll be interested to see how much they sell with college football being out.
And how much it's gonna get compared like heavily.
Man,
heavily.
They don't play defense on college football.
It's hard as
it's ridiculous.
I lost a game last night on a dynasty, and like
you lost to the computer.
No, it was a regular person. I had to go to the swamp. I'm USC. I had to go to the swamp. I ended up losing this game, but I mean, you can't tackle like the angles.
Yeah, the angles is terrible.
They just run out the angles. Like people you be right by. You be like,
then the spin move.
The spin move is like
Judkins spin move.
Yeah, stuff is
Did
ridiculous.
you
see the one clip where he juked out 7 dudes on a spin?
His spin move.
No, I didn't see that.
NCAA might be one of the most fun sports games.
It is fun. It's arcade. It's arcade, but that spin move that he got.
Bring Blitz back.
Hey, this is arcade. This is like NBA Fever or something. That spin move he got is like Sonic the Hedgehog.
See you on overtime.
Peace.